So, hello and welcome to the Sabado podcast. Unfortunately, we do not have Durin, so everyone's going to miss his high-pitched introduction. But we will have Indaraj, we have Espin, and we have the father of GB powerlifting, Tony Cliffe.
The great great
In this,
granddad.
the great granddad. He's been there since the beginning, basically.
Thanks for that
No,
lovely
actually,
introduction.
we were speaking earlier and we figured out Tony's actually a millennial, so make of that what you will.
Oh my day! You know, it's funny because
Fucking hell,
I was in the gym, and then I was talking about someone with untested and tested powerlifting, and I was trying to explain how the progression is very different. How someone untested can like come on 3-4 years, they're like totally 980, for example, the guy who in the 125 kilo class, and then Tony's list is just long. It's like 40-50 comps just to get to the exact same position. It's insane. But yeah, Espin, could you give us the new information, and then we'll leave with that.
All right, cool. So basically, we're going to be doing well, everyone already knows, we're doing a giveaway every single week. So we are now every Monday, we're going to be announcing the winner of this giveaway. So basically what we've done is, in order to be eligible, firstly, you need to have a Sheffield ticket. Number one, that's very important. If you don't have a Sheffield ticket, you won't be eligible for the giveaway. On our first giveaway that we've done, so if you go onto our Instagram post, which has actually done pretty well, it's got 25,000 views. You see that? I was actually quite shocked. I don't think I've posted anything. That was pretty sick. It got me so excited. I even messaged the boys and I was like, fucking hell, boys, 25,000 views. That's it. The only thing I've gotten close to that was a picture of Bailey.
Oh yeah, but buying views don't count.
I didn't want to mention anything.
Yeah, so basically every week, guys, and we're going to be doing a giveaway. This week we're doing the singlet. So all you need to do is tag a friend, share it on your story, and be eligible to. And in order to be eligible, you have to have a Sheffield ticket. Every single week we're going to be doing a giveaway. So it can either be SBD t-shirts, it can even be a belt, it can be, I don't know what else. It could be anything. Knee sleeves, elbow sleeves,
socks,
the lot. Like,
and
obviously,
once the new range comes out,
yeah,
we'll be giving away some of the new range as well. So it'll be really good, actually.
So we're going to be doing this every single week, guys. So even if you didn't win even if you don't get selected on Monday, I mean, we've got so many to do anyways, because we're going to be doing so many in the Sheffield series as well. And Tony Cliffe is going to pretty much be announcing the winner on Monday as well. So, yeah, enjoy.
Right. So let's kick things off. Tony, we're obviously on for the Sheffield series. A very quick, what does this Sheffield series mean to you? Like, just tell us how you're feeling for it.
Oh, yeah, I'm really, really excited to compete. Obviously, I was there watching last year, which was surreal, watching you. Yeah. Obviously, the hype of being in that crowd and being in the audience and everything, desperately wanted to get there. So won Worlds. I thought, yeah, I'm in. But then had a bit of a debacle with SBD about wearing my A7 kit, and had to go and have a meeting with Ben and Aaron to help get that over the line, which they did. And yeah, I'm glad I got over the hump with that. So the plan this year was I was going to be doing the equipped Worlds if I didn't end up with a Sheffield invite. So thankfully I've not had to go and get back into the squat suit. Put myself through the usual agony of that. So I'll be watching that one from home. So that's next week after.
Yeah, starting soon.
Yeah, so no, really really excited to be in front of that crowd at Sheffield. I think it's more so than worrying about the lifting or targets for lifting or anything like that. I just wanted to compete on that stage. I've been to a lot of competitions over the years, which are backroom gym comps, crappy little crowds, no one there watching, and you're doing your best. So to be anywhere where there's a crowd like that, really interested in powerlifting, paying to be there, you go, yeah, I need to be there. Even when looking back and comparing it to like World Games, and that was a busy room, but yeah, nothing quite compared to that atmosphere that we saw last year at Sheffield. So yeah, over the moon.
I know you've done like so many comps. Like if you go into open powerlifting, you're literally scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So all the comps you've done, is this one in particular going to be like, despite the fact that you've done so many comps, do you feel any sort of pressure or even like nerves? Like,
yeah,
leading up
absolutely.
To this?
Yeah, I get nervous for pretty much every competition. I mean, that hasn't really gone away. It's less severe than it used to be. I think my first Euro, I don't know if I've said this before now, but the first Europeans I threw up before I competed because I was so nervous. Chundered up a load of orange juice, which I don't recommend. So yeah, still get nervous. It's not quite as intense as it used to be, and obviously lifting classics, you don't quite have as much nerves as lifting equipped because there's less. I mean, really, there's less can go wrong. You're either strong or you're not, right? Whereas in your kit, anything can happen, and has. And I think the experience of going through that, all of those different competitions, winning, losing, bombing, coming fourth 5 times on the trot. Once you've been through all of that, the nerves are definitely dampened a little bit, but I think it'll be different for Sheffield because the noise of the crowd and the people that you're lifting with and the atmosphere of the whole thing. I think it'll be the nerves will be right back, back up there. Plus, I set big expectations on myself, so I'll be nervous about that.
That's amazing. I was going to quickly ask because you did put up a post where you put the message you received from SBD where they told you about the cancellation of SBD Sheffield in 2020.
Yeah.
Can you take us back before we start talking about Sheffield now? Can you take us back to that moment? What did it feel like for you? What was going through your head? How were you preparing for that competition? And how's that built? Because you could look at it as, hey, I had my chance in 2020. That went away, even though you've been ahead of the 120s for a long time. But to come full circle, come back around to the opportunity again, it seems to be on a bigger scale. The money's bigger, the crowd is bigger, the intensity is bigger. Yeah. How's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been rough in a few ways. I felt like I'd missed out on an opportunity that I might never get back to. Especially at my age, like thinking, am I ever going to go back and win another Worlds? So I won. So obviously I won in 2019 for the first time after about 6 attempts or something at trying. I remember in South Africa coming fourth, and I come fourth in every lift. It's like you don't forget those things. That was back in 2014. Fourth on the squat on body weight against a Russian who squatted the same as me, and then he benched the same as me and took the bronze, and then he out deadlifted me, and I ended up fourth. I was like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. So that was full motivation for actually eventually winning one and keeping coming back and winning one. And in 2019, obviously I won. Didn't know much about the Sheffield competition or the series of what Ben had planned with that SBD competition. But then obviously I found out later that I'd qualified for it, and it was going to be this huge competition, and it was all the world champions and champions, and then all of the media stuff started for it. It really kicked off. Oh, this looks amazing. This is going to be really cool. Great thing to be part of, and I felt really lucky. And then, it got cancelled. I was in the middle of training for it. And it was right up until only like a few weeks out. I think it was like early January, February time. It was supposed to be in March, and they tried a few different scenarios of what they could do to try and go ahead with the competition regardless, and they all fell through. I think it just got more and more serious, and everything got more and more clamped down, mainly around the international travel. Like it all just ground to a halt, so no one could go anywhere. So it was never going to work. So yeah, it felt like, well, that was that then. That was my shot. That was it. So I'll forget about it and move on. Remember what happened that year? We didn't get back into competitions then until 2021. I think Worlds came back. Yeah. Went and lost to another Russian, Masayev, Konstantin Masayev, and he was really good on that day, really consistent. I think he went 9 for 9. Super strong. I had a crap day. I think I did like 6 out of 9, something like that. Missed all my thirds. So he battered me really, and then I thought, well, okay, well that's my classic lifting over. I'll go back to the equipped and see if I can qualify for World Games. So that's what I did the next year. So I never went to Worlds in 22. I think that's the year that Mohammed Sahad came and won it. And then I saw that and saw the totals. I thought after World Games, well, I've done what I wanted to do in the equipped, so I'll go and have another crack at trying to get back onto the Sheffield list. Seen the entries for that and thought, yeah, all right, I'm gonna go and give it a good crack again. And that's when I did that 9:43 leading up to it at the British. Well, I had 2 Britishes back to back then.
Yeah, you had the Northwest and then you had the British.
Yeah. So they were all too close. So I did like a 9:43 at the British equipped. Then no, sorry, you're right. I did the Northwest because I had to qualify because I hadn't done a classic championship for about 18 months. So I did the Northwest, did a 940, did the British equipped, did a 943.
You did 945 of the British equipped.
945, did I? Oh,
Yeah.
You know better than I do. And then 955 at a classic. And then Worlds 952. So they were all really close competitions. So I really felt like that. I haven't really shown where I was at that point. You know, I think I was around a 970 really at that point. I think 975 probably. I mean, I was chasing Durins on that last pull at the British. But to be honest, but pull wasn't as strong at the British as it had been sort of a few weeks before at the previous British. And I pulled 360 like it was an opener. I was like, finally my deadlift has clicked, so it's going to fly. Anyway, it got to the next British, is like 3 weeks later. I was like, yeah, it's not it.
I was rooting for you to get that pull, just so I could take a record from you, like you took the squat record from me. I was like, let him get it.
That was brilliant. That was good. That British, wasn't it? Like back to back, Luke taking those squat records back and forth, and then Bo coming and sideswiping all of us.
It needs to happen again. To be honest.
Yeah. Now Bo's a monster.
So building into Sheffield and trying to get those competitions where I wanted them and get things where I wanted them. Didn't quite land, but won it. So got the ticket. So that's full circle. It took went all around the houses to get there, but we got there eventually.
That's amazing. Now, just to let everyone know, so I wanted to quickly give the cash prize. Sheffield is a money meet. That's the honest truth. We're going there to make some money. Well, you're going there to make some money, hopefully.
No, come on. We told you how to make money at Sheffield. You fucking completely ignored us.
Wait.
Like we weren't even there.
I was waiting for that. This is not a podcast about me, okay? Let's focus on TC. Let's focus on Tony here. He's got 4 months to prepare for this competition. Right,
absolute
the price...
sausage.
The prize pool is £444,000. First place gets 25k, 5k per every record broken, and the total maximum payout is 45k. 45,000 is a decent salary in the UK, honestly. So, what are your expectations going into this meet? I've had a quick look at the world records for the 120 kilo class. It's a 978.5 kg world record that's held by Dennis Colinius. The bench record, interestingly enough, is only 253.
Only.
So that is
only. Are you taking a piss?
I say only. I say Indy cannot relate, unfortunately.
But none of us can relate. Who can relate with that number here? Well, you get excited to squat that number.
The man that we're interviewing right now, Tony, you've done a very good 250.5 kg bench. How are you feeling going forward? The deadlift, unfortunately, is held by our friend up there on the screen, so that's far away. But how's the bench feeling? How's that? How are you feeling for that?
Yeah, no, good. I mean, my plan for Sheffield is actually to try and bench 255, not 253. And I'll explain why in a minute. But intention is to try and do 250 in a couple of weeks at that the selections competition. Yeah, so I can just sort of tick that one off, so it's done, rather than it being, it can be a bit of a, it's like doing your first ever 300 kilo squat. Mo, you'll remember this. It was only a couple of weeks ago for you. It can become a bit of a mind blocker, can't it? Like it
can be definitely.
It can railroad you a little bit. So I've got to get that one out of the way. And then I'll have a crack at it at Sheffield. But how I do it and how I go about it, I haven't really thought through just yet. Trying to open too close to it or anything like that, because it's more going to be in a series of trying to do 1,000 kilo total, which is ultimately what I'm thinking about.
Have you tried just changing the way you bench every week? I heard that's really good for gains.
Hey, let's stay on track, okay?
I'm asking Tony. I'm asking our esteemed guest. Anyway, carry on.
You mentioned 1,000 kilo total.
Yeah.
Right. Before we get into that, the world record is only 978.5. So we can get into Sheffield. I'm looking at, in terms of competition, I actually think you're a bit of in a situation similar to Evie, in the sense of you've not, like you said, you've had competitions where you felt like you haven't really shown your full potential and the amount of training you've been doing over the last few months just due to back-to-back meets. You scored a 350, you scored a 315 competition, you look good enough to bench 250, and then you did that massive Hail Mary 382 deadlift. But let's say a conservative 370. that puts you already in a 960 to 970 range already, just with numbers you could hit known. So are you going to be looking to surpass that Dennis Williams record, or is this something that you're going to do depending on the day, because there's clearly money on the line and you don't want to over risk and then end up losing money or position as you go to the meet?
Yes, I can't. It's very difficult, isn't it, to predict where everybody else is going to be. I'm basing that 1,000 kilo off Jesus doing at least 1180, which I think he will. Right, okay. So I think if I can cling to his coattails on the him doing an 1180 and coming around that percentage-wise, I think that puts me in the mix. And then I haven't really worried about anybody else or what anybody else is going to do, because it's kind of irrelevant. So if you can base it off of the guy who won it last year and what he's got to do to try and beat what he set, that 1152.5 obviously was smashed. I think it was 104, 105% or something. So I'm not expecting anybody else to come and do that, but if they do, kind of irrelevant anyway. I'm not gonna stay with them. So I'm not worrying about the 978 or just trying to scrape over that. I'm worrying about trying to, improve my placing as far as I can. And the only way I'm going to do that is to go, 6 for 6 and then leave it all on the last deadlift. So the numbers I'm thinking for squat and bench, they're big for me, but they're not astronomical in terms of expectations. I know bench sounds ridiculous because it's near around the world record, but from what I feel like I'm capable of hitting, they don't feel, like I've gone, stir crazy, and they're numbers that I can't get anywhere near. So you're thinking like 360, 255, that leaves a 385 deadlift, and none of those are ridiculous. And it's the bench is big, the deadlift's less than the world record, obviously, and the squat is
you
way
fucking leave my deadlift alone.
It's perfectly safe from me. I wouldn't worry about that.
I'll make it safer at Euros, don't you worry.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, it better be after that, right? Yeah. So that's where I'm at with the thinking behind it, and I haven't really thought about any of the other competition anyway. There's some excellent lifters on that list, and they could come and do something crazy. Maybe they will. I'd just be excited to see it and be around it, and hopefully, give some inspiration. Don't know how you felt on that stage, Mo. That the crowd were giving you support, that you could have done something wild. Maybe that's why you put that third squat in.
I think
third lift all around, to be honest.
To give you a little bit backstory, right?
There
During that competition, I was cramping, right? So, but by the time I'd finished my second attempt on bench, my triceps were cramping, my chest was cramping, my legs were cramping. Without that crowd, without the intensity, without seeing, to your left, you've got Taylor Atwood, you've got Keiko, you've got Delaney, you've got Leah Beauvoir, you've got so many top level athletes. The only thing going through your mind is, it doesn't matter if my triceps are cramping, if my hands are going to fall off. I'm not going to be the guy who comes on this platform and doesn't pull anything for a third attempt on deadlift, So the competition itself, it's like a big ass boiling pot. Like it will make you rise to the level, honestly. Like I don't think, if I had been at British Nationals and if I had the exact same situations, the same feeling I felt during that competition, even at IPA Falls, I think I would have performed. I did 880, right? Compared to Sheffield where I did 900. My feelings were exactly the same. My body did not feel good. But just that crowd, that competition, just looking left and right, knowing that, hey, I've gotten to this level, and I didn't feel like I'd gotten to the level, but I felt like I needed to step up to be at that level. It's a game changer, and it's a meet built for you to break records.
Yeah,
and it's a weird one, but once you get there, your body will understand the goal, and it knows that, hey, this is what I need to do. And everyone on that lineup has had probably one of the best performances all year. So you will definitely have fun, and we might see that 1,000 kilo total happen.
Mo, is there any advice that you could give Tony? Like, obviously, from you being there, anything that you wish you could have done? No, Indy, don't.
don't have pickle juice before you live.
It's a serious question. No, honestly, Mo.
Enjoy the experience. Enjoy the experience. You're going to be in Sheffield. There's going to be I got on the train. I came from Newcastle to Sheffield, took the train.
I thought you walked.
I did walk. I walked all the way up the hill. So the train station is the bottom of the hill, and you walk all the way to the top of the hill to get to the hotel. There was a flipping Range Rover. So just give them a call. Just go. pick me up from the train station.
I don't know what to say to Mo.
And then after competition, two things. Hopefully the scheduling is a lot better, and I can see they've already made adjustment to that. So lifting should start at 3:30 on the dot and should be done by 7:30. You'll be surprised. There'll be a lot of fans that want to meet you because they have the post show meet and greet. Which, honestly, if anyone's listening to us and they're contemplating whether they should do that experience, I would say go for it. You're never going to get a chance to have a picture with every single top level powerlifter. There'll be more than just powerlifters in the crowd. They bring in amazing strongman athletes. They bring in big names in the sporting community. So you get more than just taking a picture with Tony. You might walk into some strongmen. There might be Beyonce. You don't know who might be at that level of competition. I mean, even what's his name? Omar Yusuf. Massive OG in YouTube. He was there in the post meet and greet show, just chilling around and hanging around. So if you're contemplating getting that ticket, give it a try. But Tony, you'll be there for a while. There'll be a long queue of people that want to take a picture with your bald head. Like they will. So prepare some food beforehand if you can. You know, I think maybe they might bring some food to the venue this time. But if not, just order in advance so you have something in the night. If not, you'll be looking for food around 10 p.m., 11 p.m. And Sheffield is not the best city.
No, I think we ended up in a pie and mash shop when we after the competition last time.
Oh, okay.
You should be more northern.
Thanks, mate. No,
I think it's time to discuss the issues here. So we had a little bit of beef, didn't we, Tony?
Who did?
Mo.
Hey, it's not my fault. The 120 seem to have beef with 105. I don't know what's going on. You know,
you have beef with every single person at the selection meet. What you mean?
That's true.
You're going to war.
Mo's got beef with 83s, 93s, 66s.
The funny thing is
66s.
I'm just chilling. Like this meet, I'm just relaxing, having fun. But I'm trying to generate hype for it. You know, selections, no one knows is going on. So yeah, just said
me and you in it.
One
man and his dog, isn't it?
Oh my days. But yeah, quickly. So 105, we had the drama with SSJ Bobb. We've seen everything play up online. I've heard his side of the story on the King of Live podcast. I don't know if you listened to it, but what's your thought on it? How did you feel when you first heard what he had to say? And then when you had the back and forth on social media?
Typical young man. Coming in, going to take over the world, you know, the usual. Heard it all before. It's good fun, though. I think it's good banter. And I think it's good to have somebody with a bit of character coming up into our weight class. I mean, it can be a bit boring, can't it? The 120s. So, yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It's good to have people that have got a bit about them and, you know, willing to put it out there. But, you know, I'm going to bite back because that's just who I am.
That's great.
So it's good. You know, he's obviously a super talented lifter. He's super strong. You know, technically he's pretty good. So all the crap about people coming over to the IPF from USAPL and not getting lifts and that's not going to apply to him. He'll be fine. I think maybe his bench might come down a little bit, and I think he mentioned that on the King of Lifts. But yeah. We're dead close at the minute in terms of totals. He puts on a bit of body weight. He's going to be a threat, obviously, but doesn't mean we can't have a bit of banter about it. You know.
Do you think the sport needs more people like Bobb in terms of like shit talking and stuff like that?
You need these characters, right? For people to then get behind their opposition or to get behind them. Otherwise, it's all a bit of a dull affair. I mean, powerlifting can be a bit boring and a bit dry for people that aren't involved in it. So to have a bit of hype and a bit of clash and head-to-head and, you know, a bit of shit talk back and forth, as long as it doesn't get out of hand, I think is all good. As long as it's taken in the right vein. I mean, I'm pretty thick-skinned at my age. I don't care. I can take anything. So I don't mind it. I think it's good. I think it'd be good for the crowd and it's good for people to get behind. The good thing about going to Sheffield, seeing people, you know, there'll be a crowd there of people that are interested in powerlifting and they want to see what's going on. You don't often have that outside of an event like that. So the way you're going to get the crowd there is they've got to be interested in the battles that are happening. If it's not just a Jesus, you know, completely dominant and hundreds of kilos ahead of everybody else. Like if Rondell was coming to Worlds, it's kind of a different story, right? Because it's like, you know, people just want to see just massive numbers and, you know, see what he can do and, you know, change the record books forever. Whereas, you know, it can be a bit more interesting if it's just a full-on head-to-head. Two people are really close and a bit of shit talk beforehand, and they're gonna make up afterwards. But at the time, you need that. You need those battles, right, to get people interested in watching the thing. So
that's true.
I don't mind stirring the pot and make it worse.
I think it does make it interesting, because even taking Sheffield into consideration, you have the Rosser or Delaney was chasing that world record that all the 83s have been chasing for years now.
Yeah.
You have the 74s to an extent. You have the 93s, which is always a dogfight. 105, Anatoli's by himself a bit. So the storyline is going to be, what can he do and what does Ashton do afterwards? Yeah. And then in terms of you, everyone's watching to see how far can you push your record, how far can you actually push your performance, and where do you stack up against the SBD Bobb or whichever 120 that does make it out of the Americas to come to IPF Worlds. So
yeah, I think it
definitely makes it interesting.
It makes it like with Indy, yourself, with Kieran, with Bo, with those guys coming up at the British, it made that British actually really fun and exciting to be a part of, and it pushes performances up. So if you don't have that, depth of quality in the competition, it's very, very difficult for that one lone person that is out there, 50, 60 kilos ahead of everyone else to have a real drive to do anything at a world championship. And it's not like Sheffield where there's some money for breaking a world record or whatever. So you need that competition to drive you forward. That's why we're all there. That's why we all bother going year in, year out, is to have that competition to improve your training and make you do the things that you need to do outside of the gym. Because training is the easy bit, right? The hard bit is all the rest of it. Making sure your sleep, your recovery, your nutrition, everything is right. They're the hard things, and they're the things where you really do need a bit of, well, if I don't do it, then what the consequences? I'm not going to be as good as I should be, and then I'm going to lose in the competition. So it gives you that bit of drive and the focus that you need for everything else that goes into being, a top level competitor. So all the better, need more of them really. Like, a few other people to come back. We need probably Dennis Cornelius back would be quite good as well.
I've seen the massive, he did an 826.
Yeah, he's back. He's doing a bit of training here and there. I mean, he looks pretty heavy, so I'm not sure what he's weighing in the minute. But we'll see. Maybe he'll turn up.
I would have thought he'd been lighter, having done BJJ for so long.
The American diet is not built to make you light, though.
It's not. Yeah, he found it really hard to cut down to 120 when he was there competing. He struggled a bit. So. Maybe he'll come back. I mean, there's some decent competition in powerlifting America now. You think about their 120 class, Big Dev. He's in the 950s. He's not going to be a walkover by any stretch of the imagination. I think people are ignoring a couple of people there. That's going to be a battle for Bobb. He's got to get through that first. And then we'll see. I know his total's probably a bit ahead from what it was looking at. What he did against Ash, because they were. Hail Mary and last deadlifts and stuff, right? So, yeah, we'll see. But let's get them through that. I'll get through Sheffield, and then we'll meet at the other end. Have a ding dong at Worlds in June. Or is it Lithuania?
Lithuania.
Lithuania.
Yeah, a load of travel for those guys.
It looks nice, Lithuania. Actually, it looks really nice. It's gonna. I think next year World's gonna be so interesting, especially in the 120s. Because there's going to be just so much competition. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, that's what we want, right? That's what we want to see. Yeah.
How's it going to be looking from the outside, Mo?
I'm going to be chilling, man. Honestly, one thing for Sheffield, I was very excited. Like after Sheffield, my performance is one thing, but I did miss the fact that I couldn't be part of the crowd. I enjoy watching powerlifting. A lot of people find that weird. A lot of people are like, "Oh, powerlifting is boring." I mean, bench is boring. That's it. But
you can't say that with Tony here.
Benching.
If you've got a good battle in squats or deadlift, I think it's very exciting to watch. And I think it's just a marketing and perspective issue. If you watch two guys slugging on the road, I couldn't care less. But if you put them in a crowd in a UFC setting, everything changes with the storylines and everything. So I think powerlifting, it can be exciting to watch. I think if it's marketed the right way, which SBD seems to be doing, we're going to get those storylines. We're going to get invested in the lifters, the battles. You know, we already have you and SSJ Bobb. If in between the lifting, there's like SSJ Bobb said this while you're going for an attempt, you know, everyone would go crazy, like, well, what's going on? So it will be very exciting. And I'm excited to be part of that crowd. I'm going to be there with my drums, my trampoline, anything you want, Tony. You are, this is your home surface. You know, you've got your own local team. You're playing your local game. So just let us know what you want, your chance, and then we're just going to get it going.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, it's as loud as possible. That's what we need to drown out that French crowd. That's what we need to
do. God. Yeah.
Oh, if we do nothing else, let's just be louder than the French. I can live with
that. Tony, just to ask real quick, right? Just so we know, Sheffield, amazing money meet. What records are you looking to hit? Like, what record do you have? So if you give us a top down, this is the first thing I want to take off, and then I go for this. But what record are you looking to hit at this competition?
It's only really the bench and the total. I think the squat's ridiculous. I don't know, what is it? 386, is it? Isn't it crazy? Dennis. Yeah, so absolutely no chance of getting anywhere near that. I think the deadlift will be in the stratosphere after Europeans for some reason. So I'm not worried about that. So then it's just the bench and the total. But if India has a terrible Europeans, then maybe a bit of deadlift as well.
No, just because you said that, I'm going to sandbag my squat. That's it. Tony's on my list now. I'm going to be shouting "fuck Tony" in my fucking videos.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that, by the way? Did you see the clip?
Yeah, it was very funny. Yeah, it's very funny.
Oh,
enjoy that. Good. It's getting motivated, keeping him training, and that's what people need. What are we doing then? 400 on the seconds, Indino?
Honestly, I genuinely don't even know. It's really, but we'll find out this peak because all my deadlifts on that strength and intensity block has just been fucking sandbags. They've all been sandbags. That 380 double was meant to be like a 9.5, 10, and I was like, I could have. After the first rep, I wanted to put it down and do 400 for a double. That's where my brain was at. After that first rep, I was feeling a bit savage, but I was like, nah, we'll save it. But I don't know. Fuck knows. I genuinely don't know. It's fun. We'll see how the peak goes. I'm not hiding my training this time. I'm not turning into fucking Espin and running away. I'm just posting all my lifting. I'll be like, here you go.
Yeah, Espin doesn't hide his training though. It just doesn't turn up for
just doesn't compete.
Yeah, I post all my training. I just don't turn up to comp, so it's fine. I'll turn up to a Ryanair, but not to a comp. But Tony, have you had to prioritize your training? Like now, obviously, because Sheffield's going to be one of the biggest meets. Well, probably the biggest meet you've ever done, right?
Yeah.
Have you had to prioritize like training, like coming first, as opposed to how you've been previously, or?
No, I mean, no, not really. I mean, nothing's really changed really from a training perspective. Not really. Like I said about the stuff outside of the gym and making sure that's right, that's probably more of a focus. Like I'm never not going to train and I'm never not going to do what I need to do in the gym. That's the easy bit. The hard bit is the rest of it, making sure life stuff doesn't get in the way, get the sleep in, get the nutrition right, make sure I'm drinking enough water. The little things that make the difference are the things that I tend to have to focus on before a Worlds. Obviously, I'll focus on before Sheffield. I've started focusing on them earlier for the prep for Sheffield, thinking about getting through December and Christmas and all the distractions through that, and making sure training stays on track through December is a critical thing. But yeah, no, not really. There's not really a great deal of change from a training perspective, because otherwise I'm basically telling myself everything that I've done up to now hasn't worked, and I just need to try something new. Okay, well, that isn't the case. I just need to get the timing of things right. yeah. Tell Mo.
You know what? I'm just gonna chill.
I mean, the only other thing that I'm thinking about is obviously looking after injuries and making sure I'm healthy. Like I've had problems with my knees or problems with my hips. I tore my lat a few weeks back.
I was gonna get into that. So like we've seen the injury. We know deadlift record is in the stratosphere right now. But what happened with the lat and how has that affected your training going forward?
To be honest, I don't really know. I threw in a few accessories because I was outside of comp prep. I'd not done any for a while.
Whoa!
A few accessories.
Excuse
I was
me?
doing pull-ups.
Yeah, Tony doesn't like
chin-ups,
accessories.
bent over rows, doing some curls, various other things.
I had to make sure it was recording.
Yeah, it's recorded, don't worry. And I think I tweaked it doing a pull-up. I thought, oh, that felt a bit weird. And then I went to do the next set. I went, nah, I'm just making it worse. Didn't think anything of it. Thought it was just a bit of a strain. And then I deadlifted on it a couple of days later. I thought, that's really, really painful when I'm pulling. It's weird. And so I stopped. I didn't finish that deadlift session. I said, I've been through a few where I've tried to train through them completely and really made a mess. So I was like, right, I'll just leave it and see how it fares. And then with the next 3 days, it just got worse and worse and worse. And like, started going purple and then brown, and like my entire lat was like completely purple all the way down. So I was like, oh Jesus, that looks really bad. I think it was just a bad bleed. So wherever it was the tear, it just spread and made it look awful because it was only like a tiny little area that was actually sore. So I just rested it. And seems to be okay. It took a couple of weeks of not deadlifting. I was doing some other stuff instead, and now I'm back deadlifting and it seems fine. Okay. Right, so as long as I don't go crazy on it, and I'm not doing the accessory work that caused it either, I just ditch that, and it seems to have recovered anyway. And I pulled 340 on it last Wednesday, and it's not sore. And I was able to do my back offsets and stuff, and everything's okay. So I think I'm over the worst of it now. So fingers crossed, everything should be fine in the run into this comp and the next one.
We're gonna have to come to your house and bubble wrap you, mate. Make sure you're nice and healthy for the Sheffield.
Well, as long as I don't do anything crazy, I think that's the thing. Is like, and the comps are spread out far enough that it's not like one on top of the other. I think if it was like it was for the divisional and the British, I'd probably just ditch one of them if I was in that situation again. But yeah,
I was going to say, because last year there were quite a few athletes that did the Sheffield Worlds free, and like a few pick up injuries after Sheffield, especially then trying to go back into peak. So I'll say that's definitely one thing you want to keep in mind. You've been doing this sport for a long time. Honestly, I think your body's beautiful. Like you've hardened your body into powerlifting movement, that even doing anything outside of powerlifting causes you to get injured. So you better just stick to SBD at this point.
That's pretty much where I'm at. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and I'll be masters as well, won't I, next year? So I'll be
when are you going to be masters? So
it's from the 1st of Jan, because I turn 40 in March. So
shit. Indy, are you ready to give Tony's first loss in like 10 years?
Bro, let's see. We'll find out if the bench plays ball.
That's a very, so I don't know if our listeners actually know this though. I noticed the last person to beat you, a GB athlete, the last GB athlete to beat you is Ben Banks, the owner of SBD like itself. So how does that feel? The last person to beat you, you're now doing the competition, obviously sponsored by him. So your potential.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really thought about that, but yes. I mean, I've known Ben for years, and we're on the international team together, competing, going to Worlds and Euros together and stuff. So, I've known Ben a long time. I'd say we're friends. He's a good lad, and he beat me that year. But then I come back the next year and beat him by 60 kilos. So I'm like, nah. But I was doing what you're doing, Mo. I was moving up weight categories. So I couldn't stay where I was.
But you were committing to them.
Yeah, I was committed to them. I
don't know what I was doing.
Well, that was when 500 grams.
When you were moving into the 120s, there wasn't like someone pulling 385 or 386, was there?
No, there was just Tony fucking benching my squat.
Well, it was when I was moving up though. It was 100 to 110 to 125. So the 110 to 125 was the big leap of faith, and I think at that comp where I lost, I weighed about 116. Because I was still trying to get to the top of the 125, and then they changed the weight categories like right in the middle of me trying to get from 110 to the top of the 125. So I put on a load of fat for no reason, like rushing to try and get to the top of the 125.
The competition probably was different in the 80s.
It's born
it was
in the 80s,
subtotal
mate.
specialist,
I don't know.
Oh, what the-
No, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Obviously, it was all equipped back then. Ben was an equipped lifter as well. So, single ply crew. It's all good.
Basically what you got for knee sleeves now.
Yeah, boy, pretty much. Yeah, they were decent knee wraps then. Don't worry.
Oh, what they. I had a quick question there because I was listening to a podcast recently where they were talking about bulking and powerlifting and also just strength training in general. You just mentioned there you went from the 110 to 125 and you'd moved aggressively. So you were 116 when you lost. What was your experience like moving into a bigger weight class? And you've done this for a long bloody time. You've done this longer than some juniors have been alive for, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be your advice based off that experience? What you've seen over the last few years, would you do that process differently moving into a weight class, or would you repeat the same procedure? And what would you advise new lifters to do who are looking to make that jump?
Yeah, I think we messaged a couple of times about it as well, right? It's like, don't rush it, take your time and don't expect the body weight added to immediately impact your numbers. If anything, it'll probably worsen some lifts at some stages of that progression. Like deadlift leverages tend to change. Things feel a bit weird for a while, and you have to get used to adapting to those changes. If you're short and your hands get fat, you're going to have problem with grip on deadlift at some point. You'll probably see an immediate benefit to your bench. I think that's the one where it tends to help the most. But again, it's not immediate, and it's got to be weight where you need it. So if you rush it and you just you gather a load of fat and it's not actually quality growth, then it's not really going to help much other than probably leverages on the squat. So that's what I'd say is don't rush, take your time, and don't expect immediate results.
That question was basically because Mo just wanted to know for himself, just so you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty
That's
much
what Mo does. I've had quite a few messages from people. They're like, whenever Mo asks a question, it's always something that he wants to know.
It's like, so Tony, a lot of the viewers were basically wondering. He's like, no one wondered this. It was just Mo.
It was Mo. But
if you're gonna have legends on the podcast, you might as well ask these questions. When else are you gonna sit down with Tony Cliffe on a Zoom call and ask him questions?
Whenever you want, mate. Whenever you want. But the deadlift thing's actually funny because I've said this to quite a few people and they're always really confused. But when my body weight goes more than 123, my deadlift just plummets off a cliff, and it's just obviously when I'm weighing that much, I'm not fucking Mo 6 out of 10 genetic shredded. My deadlift pulls like a 9 out of 10, but like the stomach gets in the way sort of thing, like, or the pull's different or the positioning's out at the bottom, and my deadlift falls off a cliff. It's not even nice, to be honest. So just find what works for you, Mo.
It's surprisingly common though, and because I've been around a lot of lifters that have been through that journey as well, and it's very similar to all those guys. And the same advice would be just don't rush. If you're going to move up, take your time. Do a couple of kilos at a time and get something out of those kilos that you've gained. Do a comp. Wait a little while, hang around at that body weight, try and get stronger at that body weight, and then move on. Rather than trying to do a 10-kilo jump in body weight and then hope that turns into something afterwards. It doesn't always work that well.
Pray for the best.
Yeah.
What I was just putting together? I was trying to total 1,000 kilos at 119.6 body weight. I'm just giving you that. Like, just say you cut it close into
19.99.
Let's give you 19.6. That gives you roughly about 100 and let me get that correctly. So that gives you 116.42 GL points. That's pretty nuts.
Is that good? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what they mean.
It's definitely a lot more than what Durance has done, who would have been on this podcast.
Okay, let's talk about what's the biggest GL point so far. Have you got that, or is that Durance?
Yeah, that is. I was going to lead into
that. It'd be Joy.
It also makes
Joy. Yeah, Joy. Yeah,
Joy's 117.1, which is so insane.
Joy's in the stratosphere. We're all looking at Joy like, where's she gone?
117. Like,
yeah, it's like you need to total maybe 1,020 to get close to that as a 120.
Yeah, let's not worry,
hell.
let's not worry about
points
Joy.
are better
Leave
than
it
my
to
bench. It's all right.
it.
Carry on.
Points
You
better
were.
than your bench.
Oh, okay. But no, it's great. So, looking into Sheffield going back to Sheffield again as a competition, is there any lifter? First of all, you're looking forward to meet. You've probably met a lot of them at IPF Worlds, and then is there anyone whose performance you're excited to see? Like you're looking at and going, "Hey, you mentioned she's potentially doing 1,180. But is there any other lifter you're looking at and going that he could or she could do something insane in that weight class?"
Well, I think healthy Anatoly is an interesting prospect. See what he comes and puts up. He had some interesting things to say about Ash and wanting to compete against the best. So I'm expecting a huge performance from him, right, to back those comments up. I think he will. I don't doubt it. So that will be interesting. I always like watching Panna. I like watching him just because he's always in some hairy, like, head to heads. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes across at Sheffield. Is there any other 74s? As you just said, there is.
Well, that's going to be the interesting thing, right? Well, Panna, because we've seen what Evie did last year, where Evie cut down into the 52 kg weight class.
Yeah,
or
could he go up?
So could he go up to the 74s and maybe, because then he doesn't have to cut nothing. So, or will he even go? Panna could do something crazy, like maybe we're trying to attempt cutting to the 59s, Don't know if that'll probably kill him.
Guys, so thin, it'd be so skinny going down that way. That'd be unbelievable. Left. There wouldn't be anything, would there?
They look like Espin, radiation poisoning.
So I always like watching him. I always like watching because he's always in those battles, because he's always the kind of the underdog, and he may get there, he may not. So how that would then translate across if he's there competing on his own and just talking about world records, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be as exciting. But that's the exact contrast, isn't it, between what we're saying between what happens at Sheffield and what happens at a Worlds, and what makes watching Worlds a different prospect to watching in Sheffield. Which is why then I always revert to watch Jesus do crazy numbers, because that's kind of what you need at a Sheffield to make it a Sheffield, is him coming and doing something absolutely insane, trying to take Ray's squat record or something. They're the kind of numbers we need to see. I think to give it that hype.
How far is he off?
Not
Mo will know. Mo, according to the data.
Jesus, the world record?
Yeah, to Ray squat.
To Ray squat, I think he can do Ray squat. But what Ray squat is it? The 390.5 that Ray did? 394? 490?
Yeah.
Holy shit, it's 490. Jesus. I always mix up. Once you get after 300, it just blurs into heavy numbers.
Isn't the world, because the world, I don't know if that's the world record or not. I don't think it is it? Because
let me have
the official world record 120 plus, I think, is only like in the 470s. Might be wrong.
So the squat is currently 477.5 by Ray Williams. That was in Colombia. Yeah.
So I think it's going 480. I think my 1180 was 480, 280, 420.
280 bench.
Yeah.
Oh, that's close to the world record, isn't it? Oh no, that's 291. It's held by Elias.
Yeah, it's 290. So I think that gives him the 1180. I think he's almost done the 420 already in the gym. But again,
he's done the 420, but it's just grip. Yeah.
But I think that's something he's gonna struggle with. I think in general.
I think he can do it though. It has to be Sheffield. It's like that means catered for him to break such a record.
Yeah, I know people are gonna fucking clip this and be like, "Oh, he's talking shit," but like, because he's not the tallest guy. He's got a lot of weight. He's big. Obviously, he's very big, and I think he comes back to Tony when he's speaking about the hands and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I hope he does though, because that'll be a massive deadlift.
Yeah, but it's that he needs to be heavy to squat heavy.
Yeah,
but then you almost like you want to be heavy then lose weight during the competitions, so your deadlift feels better.
Yeah, he's got to find that balance, hasn't he, in his body weight that works for both. And that's not easy to find when you're, what's he weigh, 180 kilos.
Yeah, he just caps here like 400 pounds or 500 or whatever he says.
Yeah.
But he's a I know his deadlift's massive, and saying he's a squatter is like, I think, disrespectful to his bench and his dead, which are also absolutely fucking massive.
He's all
but
three,
like the squat adds so much in his total that to lose that weight and lose out on the squat to gain the deadlift, I think wouldn't be worth it for me.
Yeah, I agree. But just don't go all in on the squat thinking you're aiming for that 490 and stick around that world record number, and then hopefully you're still in a position to go for a big deadlift under that. But yeah, that's huge.
Hey, be more realistic with numbers.
You haven't competed, so there are no numbers to be realistic with in the first place.
For that.
I've competed at one of the biggest stages in Southeast powerlifting in Dover, mate. Like one of the biggest stages of all time.
Were you 24-hour weigh-in?
No. It was only a 7. That's not my fault, man. That's they fucked up there. So.
Oh, what days.
We were talking about I think it was last week we were talking about this, about discipline and motivation, weren't we? In terms of powerlifting, right?
Yeah.
Tony,
this is the perfect person to ask. Yeah, actually.
What do you think, Tony? So do you think someone needs to be motivated, like stay motivated throughout their whole like training, powerlifting career, like leading up to comps and stuff? Or do you think discipline takes over when it comes to that?
Wait, I mean, motivation waxes and wanes, doesn't it? Year to year, what's going on inside, outside of the gym, when you're leading up to a comp or not, whether or not you've got comps back to back. I think all of those things can provide motivation. But if you actually want some consistency in your training, you have to rely on just getting it done. And if you want to call that discipline, then call that discipline. I would say, don't miss training sessions. Just don't miss them ever. So, is that discipline, or is it just habit, or is it a habit I've built because of the discipline? Probably a bit of both. And I think if you want a success, you need to have that consistency, and to get that consistency, you need to make sure you are disciplined. I don't know, maybe that's the motivation doesn't even come into it. Like, if I'm honest, like that's more the stuff outside of the gym for me. Like I was saying, I think that's the stuff. I need to be motivated to stay on my diet plan. I need to be motivated to make sure I'm drinking enough water. I need to be motivated to make sure I'm going to bed on time. Like that stuff is the stuff where it can wax and wane during the year, whereas the training stuff's the easy bit, because I enjoy training. I don't find it a chore to get outside and go and do my training. That's not the hard bit at all. Maybe some people find it hard to get to the gym, whereas I'm only training in the garage, so it's not like a big it's not a big ask.
I actually think it's I've got the garage gym, right, but I find it easier to go to a gym than the garage gym sometimes, because you have that, as weird as it sounds, you have like a break,
mental break,
to prepare
yourself for going.
This isn't where I live, so I need to get into the mood to train, sort of thing. So I think it works both ways, doesn't it?
I think part of that I used to have was like, packing your bag to go to the gym was get you in the mode and the mindset that you need to be in, right? Thinking about what you need, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. Probably back in my equip days more than anything was like thinking about, right, I need this squat suit, I need those wraps, I need this, I need that, and getting yourself in the mindset to train. Whereas if you just amble outside to the gym and you're still in the mode of, I've just been watching TV 15 minutes ago, you get used to that. I know it's weird, but you get used to having to just turn that switch on, because you have to go from one mode to the other almost immediately. So I go from reading a bedtime story to trying to squat 300 kilos. Like, it's that you've got to be able to switch from one to the other. I mean, there are methodologies and things that you can use to get you there, but I think once you've done it for a number of years, you can just turn your brain onto training mode.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go from reading a bedtime story to going to war, so you have to sort of
there's got to be something
around.
Yeah.
Well, have you tried watching anime and calling yourself various characters before you lift?
I was gonna say I did have a little experience, right, during COVID. So COVID was one thing I could maybe go back to and say that was probably the closest in terms of, like, you come back home from work. My company didn't stop doing COVID. We kept on working in the office, but you'd have to come home, cook lunch or dinner, and then literally go to your living room and train. I like you said, I don't struggle with training. Like I don't honestly, if I was the only one in the gym, wouldn't make a difference. I don't ask for spotters, I don't do anything. I just go in, train, pack my bags, and go. But I wanted to expand on that point you made where you said there is the discipline to keep on training and almost building a routine which is consistent. And then there's the motivation which comes outside of training to keep up with the extra variables. And then I wanted to ask you for example, if you had two athletes, one who was just did the program as it is, turned up every single day, trained, and you had another athlete who did the exact same thing, turned up to the gym, trained, but was also motivated to stay on top of those extra variables. I think that motivation will play a bigger role in the progress that athlete B makes in comparison to athlete A. Well, you've done this for years. What do you think about that? What do you think about that motivation expanding just outside of training and what top set I do? Be motivated to hit heavyweight, but rather be motivated to stay on top of the rehab work, the drinking water, nutrition, and everything.
But that's why it's hard to be consistent with that stuff, and that's why I say that stuff requires motivation, is because you can't have that all year, because you will just fall off, right? So if you make it too rigid, some people, they never go out, they don't have a social life, all they do is train, they all they do is get their nutrition right, they won't eat out with friends, they won't do anything outside of that. It's very hard to stay like that for your entire life, right? So if you can, fair play to you, but there are very few people that can do that or would want to do that. So making sure you plan that as part of your training cycle is almost more important and goes alongside. If you're going to have a period of training where you're building into a competition, it's a tough competition and you want to be at your best, then you need to plan the other stuff to be at your best as well. So part of what I used to do in planning for a world championships was write down all of the external things that I wanted to get right, as well. And it's almost like a list of commitments to the program. So as well as not just writing out the numbers and I've got to hit these numbers, I've got to be in bed by 11 p.m. I've got to get up at such and such time. I need to eat these meals every day. I need to make sure I'm, going to physio. I need to make sure I've done my rehab work, write all that stuff down and have a daily commitment to that stuff during that cycle of your program. But don't try and do that all year, because you will fail. Right? Right. So only at certain times. I'm sure, Indy's building into Euros now. He's going to be thinking, all the things that he's got to get right to make sure he stays on track for his program. Right. So, if he's not eating properly and trying to do those huge deadlifts, eventually the wheels are going to fall off. So he needs to make sure he gets the food in, gets the recovery right. But if you try and do that forever, all year round, eventually you'll give up on it, or you'll fall over. The wheels will fall off, and it'll be at a time where you really didn't want the wheels to fall off. So plan it like you're planning your training, is what I'd say.
Yeah, that's a valid point, and hopefully that's something I can learn from, and other listeners can also learn from. Tony's been doing this for years, so if there's a fountain of knowledge, if there's anyone you want to learn anything from, that's your guy, really.
I'm gonna do that today. Literally today. Enter a comp, number 1. Number 2, attend the comp.
I think that's you've done the first step a lot of times. The second step is really what we want.
All I need to do, guys, in 4 weeks' time, I just need to get to the venue, check in, make weight, and I'm done. I can go home. We're good. No, but honestly, those words, yeah. Oh yeah, no, I have to attend. Honestly, don't worry, guys. What
it is though? I'll be honest with you. I think everyone does the training part. 20% of people do the nutrition part, right? And the hydration or whatever it is, that's the thing that people let slip. That at least I'm at the gym. I'm like, well, it's not really that difficult, especially here, to just get on top of your nutrition. There's so much protein food and just healthy food around now anyway. And just drinking water and stuff. People are like, oh, I haven't had enough water today. I remember being to Jordan, she's like, I forgot to eat. The amount of times he said, I forgot to eat. I'm like, fucking how?
I think Durans is a perfect example. Despite the fact that we make all of these jokes about Durans on a day-to-day basis, right? He is a prime example as to why nutrition is so key. The guy was eating 900 calories, under 1,000 calories throughout 5-6 years of his whole powerlifting career, right? And then all of a sudden, he increases that to 2,500, And in the space of a year, look how much improvements he's made.
Yeah, look, you can now squat 15 times a week.
Everything's moving well. Like he's gotten a lot stronger. So it's just little things like that. Like people like underestimate the fact that, you know, drinking enough water on a day-to-day basis, like your carb sources, protein sources is very important to training. You know what I mean? And I think people assume, right, I'm gonna have a packet of crisps, I'm gonna have a donut before training because it's got 500 calories, it's got like 50 grams of carbs, is exactly what I need. No, like that's not the case. You know what I mean? Obviously, some people can get away with it, like people with like crazy genetics, but it's like there are people that, you know.
Pause. I've never in my life. One thing I've always hated
joking. I know you're good.
The Haribo. Like when I started, I used to go to the gym and I'll see everyone carrying Haribos around and like packets of sweets and everything. And I never understood that. I never understood working out, having a Haribo and like sweets, and then continue working out. I was like, it doesn't add. Like this doesn't make any sense at all. I'm not surprised in you eat a cheesecake every single night. You're
no,
10
come
out
on.
of 10
This is my point. Like it's the Instagram thing. People see what they want to see. Do you know what I mean? They won't see like the 4 rice meals with just rice, veg, paneer. Do you know what I mean? But second I post like a bagel with some Biscoff on, they're like, yo, that's it. That's what he's doing. That's how he's growing, bro.
That's the secret.
That's the secret, bro.
It's true.
But you know what? For longevity, though, I think the point that you skipped out on, everyone, what Tony mentioned is enjoying yourself and having being able to do other things, being able to enjoy yourself, being able to eat things, being able to go places, and like not having your diet or your training just constantly being on your mind.
Yeah.
Being able to detach yourself from that's absolutely massive, because we were talking about we spoke about it previously at the British, like when we were before deadlifts, me and Tony were just dancing and Benji was screaming at a wall. And I'm like, I love Benji, but I couldn't have, like, that much arousal all the time would kill me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like, just as example, before my heaviest pull, I'll be looking at fucking memes on my phone. I probably won't be bloody. Do you know what I mean? Like, I remember Lewis had to literally grab my phone off me and put it away because I was busy looking at a duck meme or something. But I'm like, just that the over arousal and constantly just being like super hyper focused on powerlifting, I think is going to be detrimental for longevity.
So I trained like that when I was a junior, like that with that level of intensity, because I felt like that's how you needed to train to get the best out of your training, and how you needed to compete to get the best out of your competition. And then I realized later that I actually lift better when I'm not like that. When I'm most relaxed is probably when I lift at my best, and I think that's relaxed as in between the lifts and warming up and doing all that, and then that single-minded focus and being able to switch it on just before you go onto the platform gets the best out and conserves energy for what you need on the day as well. You remember, you've got to get through like a 3 or 4 hour competition. You're massively hyped up for that entire squat warm up and pre the competition, you know, weighing in, and you're just like, you're going to kill all your energy anyway. And then by the time you get to the end of the comp, you've got nothing left on your last deadlift. And I've seen a lot of people do that and burn out. I've seen a lot of people that are able to stay in that level of hyped all the way through a competition and perform well. So you have to find what works, but it didn't work for me. I wanted it to, because I wanted to be that guy that was headbutting people on the way out to the platform and going crazy. You know, proper old school, like, you know, the equipped stuff. And you see Dave Hoff like throw people into the crowd and go nuts. Oh yeah, I want to be like that powerlifter, but I'm not that guy. You know, I'm pretty laid back and having a joke and a laugh, like me and Indy were at the British, and I think you've got to find how you perform best. So maybe you need to try both. Yeah,
because like Ruska, I remember watching. Have you ever seen Ruska lifting?
Yes.
The guy's a force of nature. Well, when he's lifting, he's a completely different person to when you're speaking to him. So we had him on the podcast, and everyone's messaging. They're like, "Oh, he's very personable. He's very nice." And then you see him finish his squat, and I thought he was going to launch that guy like fucking across the roof. And I'm like, but that's the distinction sometimes you need. Like, even if you need that hype, you don't need it all of the time. Like,
no, exactly. Yeah.
That'd kill me.
Yeah, and I think we're talking specifically about competition, but like even for training, and like if you're that hyped all the time, or you need to be that hyped all the time, can you be consistent with it? It's going to be a difficult thing for you to stay on track with, to get the best out of your training as well.
If you're 120, for example, and you're getting really hyped over a 300 kg squat, like, what are you doing?
Hey, and you know what?
Here we go. Here's the bite.
No. We'll leave Mo alone, man.
Mo, love you, Mo.
Oh,
it's fine.
Days.
It's fine.
I think
I had one quick question though. Tony,
what do you need to know about your training?
Tony, so
let me ask my question.
Tony, so the viewers were wondering. Go on.
Let Mo ask his question.
So he's gonna say the viewers are wondering.
So Tony, Sheffield is coming up. Is one of the biggest meet ever in powerlifting right now. What is one thing that you want to let the crowd that was going to be coming to that competition know? What can they expect from you as a lifter, and also what are you expecting from the competition itself?
I don't know. We haven't really spoken about the ladies' side of the competition, and to be honest, I think last year that was probably the most exciting to watch. I think with what happened with Evie coming in and sideswiping everybody, and then I think we watched that squat session, and I think there was about 7 world record attempts on the bounce, and one after the other. That was a pretty exciting piece of competition. Don't know if it will be at the same level on the women's side this year, as they've pushed the records. Yeah, they've pushed the records up, but then you see what Leah's doing in training, and you think, wow, all right, where's this going to end? So yeah, I think looking forward to seeing those guys. I think that's going to, if they're at the level that they were last year, I'm pushing ahead of that'll be nuts. What to expect from me is just the usual, full commitment. Hopefully a 9 out of 9, 1,000 kilo total. We'll see. Hopefully training's going well, but that's kind of what I'm aiming for. So I have to get all of those variables right that we were talking about. I'll commit to those and do everything I can to make sure that kind of performance is there. After that, I'll just be trying to enjoy myself, and trying to enjoy the experience. And George's going to be coming and coaching with me. And the reason I bring in George to come, yeah, and the reason for that is because he likes to have a joke and mess around, and that's how I perform best when I'm relaxed. So he'll be digging about in the back, and he'll be winding other people up. That works for me. That's what I need to get the best out of my performance, is to be able to relieve some of that stress and the pressure that you'll feel in a competition like that. Is to have somebody around who can just have a joke and a laugh with you, and take the pressure off.
We're excited to watch you, man. It's gonna be sick.
Man, if you win Sheffield,
write a book.
It's gonna be nuts.
Write a book.
Yeah, I'd genuinely write a book, honestly.
I know you never know what performance is going to turn up, do you? Like for a competition like that, anything could happen, right? And anyone could come out of the woodwork and do something insane. And I'm half expecting it, to be honest.
Who do you expect? What are your expectations, as in terms of on the men's and the women's side? Who's going to do what? Do you have any idea of what you think is going to happen?
No, not really. And unlike any other competition that I've gone into, where I'm constantly looking over the competition and seeing what they've done, where they're coming from, how their training is going. I ain't doing any of that for this at all. And because it's a different type of competition, I've decided my approach to this has to be different as well. And I'm being very insular in my view of what's going on. The only other person's training I've really had a look at is Jesus's, because he's exciting, and I find it fun and inspiring to watch that kind of training. Outside of that, I've not looked at anyone. I've kept my eye on Gustav Hedlund, because
Gustav looks amazing right now.
He looks incredible at the minute. Yeah. And I backed him for Worlds. I thought he was going to win Worlds last year. So I'm expecting a big performance from him, and I think he'll take a few people by surprise as well. Although it's probably not so much a surprise anymore, given his performance at Worlds coming in. So there's some really exciting people to watch at that competition. If I wasn't competing in it, I'd be there watching it. Yeah, if I'm honest, I'd do what I did last year, and I'd have bought a ticket. So, if you haven't, go and get one. It's going to be fun.
I remember walking into Sheffield last year and I was looking at the glow sticks and stuff, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, because you've never seen it before. I'm like, in a powerlifting meet, this don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then it went dark. Everyone had their glow stick. I was at the top, along the back, and it looked absolutely fucking insane. Like, it's little things like that, I think, that make the biggest. Obviously, the money meat and everything aside, as in like production value, is just wild. It was like through the ceiling.
What could you see, Mo, when you came out for your first squat, looking
The
out
light,
into that
the
crowd?
light
Did you see
bounced off
anything?
your
Was
head,
it just like,
probably,
it's just,
Tony.
yeah, probably, yeah, just me.
Bing! That's why he missed, because you blinded it.
Unfortunately, whenever I compete, I kind of always get tunnel vision.
Right.
So I rarely see the refs. Honestly, I'm just listening all the time. The first squat attempt, though, I did notice I felt the vibrations, I felt the energy from the crowd and everything. So I actually celebrated. Like, I did the whole jumping thing and like got really hyped because I was like, yo, there's so many people. And then I was like, yeah, I can't look up anymore. I'm just gonna look at the bar and that's it.
Yeah.
And then walk up. But I would say I did miss that because I think as much as I did tunnel vision into the competition, and I was going to ask you a question later on because I know Sheffield, you're 120, they're 93s, they're 83s. You're not in the same weight class, but you are competing against everyone else there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you what you wanted to say to your competition. But one thing I do want to say is enjoy the moment. It's rare you're going to see 1,000 people watching you squat.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't affect you too much, embrace the crowd. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's what I really want to try and enjoy the moment as well.
Yes.
It's a competition and you want to perform your best, but how many times are you going to get to walk out to a crowd like that at a powerlifting competition? So try and be present is what I'm saying. I think is try and don't block it out. Be with it and let it take you where it needs to take you.
Yeah,
that's my intention. We'll see if I get like that or not. But the nerves just boil over.
I don't think there's a crowd that even compares.
No,
like that I've been to or I've seen online, like international, nationals, whatever. Like it was just absolutely insane. The noise was deafening.
Yeah.
The music was on point. I'm still waiting for that Spotify playlist.
I'll be Pete Spence.
Yeah, Pete, come on, give me the playlist. I need that music. That music, I was like, because I was watching it and I was like, I can't fuck, because we just finished British at that point, and I was like, I can't fucking wait to lift. I was itching all day long to the point where like over arousal. By the end of the comp, I was like, fucking hell, I can't wait to lift. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what happens, doesn't it? It's what do you think of the actual format, like the amount of people they are, the fact that it's going off the world record, because it's different, isn't it? No one else has done this before.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's a good idea. I think the points thing's too controversial, isn't it? Depending on what you'd pick, Wilks points, IPF points, dots, like whatever, like whatever it is. There's always somebody who feels like they're being shafted on it. So at least this is easy to understand. I think when we get to like the 5th or 6th Sheffield go round,
it's going to be all.
And it's the record's been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Hopefully that happens in every weight category consistently, right? Because what you don't want is all but one weight category, the records are rising, and then suddenly you've got this one weight category where somebody comes along and just absolutely annihilates everybody because they put a 104% in on that particular weight category. But I think that's a future problem. And if we have enough depth and enough coverage across every weight category, some of them we don't do it, like the 59s and that, like, so maybe we will have that on those odd weight categories that don't have that full representation. That it might distort the scoring a little bit, but as it stands, that isn't the case. So I think it's wide open for anybody, and there are a lot of people there or thereabouts at that world record in these weight categories now. So you just need one good performance, and suddenly they're at, they're really pushing that 103%, 104%. So that I guess that was a bit different for any other competition that I'd seen, and it made it difficult to understand from the get-go. Everyone was getting out a lifting cast on their phone to try and see the actual score sheet rather than just the percentages, because people want to know the numbers as well. So hopefully the score sheet will be slightly different this year and a bit clearer for the the audience that's in the room.
Yeah, I think that'll be one thing that will be good, is to make it easier for the crowd to understand what's going on. I've always thought, like, when you watch Formula One racing, because sometimes they do like the fastest lap, so sometimes it's always weird in terms of how the scoring actually works. But if you can have it such that each time a lifter does an attempt, they go, so the scoreboard is consistently
scoreboard,
that would be really cool.
You see what's happening. Yeah, I think that was the thing that got missed by the crowd until we got really through the squats with what Evie had done in terms of cutting a body weight, because nobody knew that she cut a body weight, and that wasn't very clear. But yeah, I mean, easy things to fix, and I think they're things that SBD really took on as well, and they asked people's experience in the crowd and what it was like and what would you change, and they're very receptive to that. So I think that we'll see some adjustments to certain things for this year from last year as well, to make it better.
Yeah, I think Pete's been working quite hard behind the scenes, hasn't he, to change various things and stuff. It's going to be interesting. Have you in your head got your openers and stuff set? Like, are you still just going through the motions at the moment?
Yeah, going through the motions a little bit. The selections competition that we're doing in a few weeks will probably give me a better steer as to how close I am to the numbers I want, and then how to set myself for openers for the next one. I'm like with opening squat, like to open pretty light. We'll probably stick to that. I'll probably stick to that for this.
Thanks for that.
nice light opener, and then a big jump, and then a smaller jump. But if I'm thinking 360, then I really ought to be attempting 355 at a selections comp. Whether or not I lift that heavy or not, I don't know. I'll just see how I feel on the day, I think, and go from there. But another couple of weeks of training, I'll give me a better idea as to what I should really be trying to do at a selections comp. And my intention wasn't to go there and sort of PB and do all of that. But with the numbers I'm aiming for February, I'm probably putting myself in a position where I probably have to take that sort of smaller step to then that 1,000 being realistic. But it's powerlifting, in it. Things
gives a nice measuring stick for me and Mo as well, though.
Yeah, I'll give you a guide as to where
it's a proper long measuring stick.
How far down on second am I going to be? Let's have a look.
What do I need to pull on my first attempt to be temporarily in the lead? I'm just going balls out open with 400.
No, I'm with Tony. I'm with a light opener, especially on deads. Like, I see loads of people who open heavier than me. Like loads, like I'm 340, 347 opener, and everyone's like, "Oh, is that it? What's he gonna do next?" sort of thing, and I'm just like, "Just have a big jump, it's fine."
Yeah, well, I didn't do that at Worlds because I was trying to just stay. I think I was staying 2.5 kilos ahead of the
Algerian, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I would never have opened as heavy as 340, but I had to because he was right there on subtotal, and then took some smaller jumps. Ideally, I'd have opened on about 310 and then gone, jumped to 350 or so, those kind of jumps. So not as big as Ashton's, 70 kilo jumps or whatever the hell he does, but
that's insane.
It is more comfortable doing that. Yeah,
it is more comfortable doing a 325 to 377 or 372, something. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
But it needs must though, isn't it? Because like in training, you have to do it in training as well. Obviously, for people listening and for Mo, you can't just go 270 to 320 and then nearly kill yourself, Mo. That fucking lift, honestly, you gave me fucking anxiety. I was there shaking watching you lifting. But like for me, you've got to earn your jump.
Yeah.
Like as long as you've hit the necessary amount, like for me, another plate on top allows you to do the plate jump, if that makes like it's the only way it works in my head.
Yes.
Big jumps are good, and it subverts those expectations at competitions as well, don't they? Everyone's like, "Oh, he's opening light, something must be wrong," and then boop.
Yeah.
Like can you imagine going to a comp against someone, he opens at like 310, and you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be easy," and then he jumps to 375. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? You're just like, what the fuck is going on here?
It is.
It's insane. That's just.
Any last questions for the big man before we round up?
We wanted to know his numbers and stuff, but Tony's keeping that nice and close. So
Could you give us your numbers for selections? Because obviously you have Bobb with his 955 or 957. So would you be looking to edge over that just to let him know, hey, that totals?
Don't care about that.
Fair enough,
not bothered at all. My intention, like I said, maybe a 355 squat if it's going well. 250 bench because I just want to get that out of the way. And then dead, I'll just have to see because I'm obviously still recovering from this lat thing. So we'll just see. Maybe over 350, but I'm not sure how much over. To be there or thereabouts. I'm not worrying about what the total is, but there are some numbers or some lifts in there that I'd like to tick off. So the squat and the bench, I'd like to tick off. When it comes to deadlift, I ain't that bothered at the minute. You'd rather just train through it almost.
You really want that 4-cheese pizza, don't you?
I really want that 4-cheese pizza. Yeah.
Fuck off, Tony. Fuck off. Is it Aaron on yours? He was like, "Oh, I want a piece of that pizza as well." I was like, "You fucker."
Yeah.
Okay then. Motivation. I'm gonna start a hashtag now. Fuck Tony.
Oh,
days.
Well, how close do you think you are to it, Indy, at the minute?
We'll see on
340 at the squad. Was it? Oh, you got a peak to do, haven't you?
Yeah. Still got peak. I hit 332 double, and there was another rep, maybe 2 in there. So I don't know. The peak, the numbers are sort of set what I want to hit during the peak, but what happens at Euros happens at Euros. It's very difficult to say. Like, I don't want to be. I know a lot of like lifters get really caught up by I need to hit this number. But for me, I don't really care. I remember I put up on my close friends, I was like, I'm very tempted to pull 399 just to fucking piss people off. Because, like, and you need to show to people that just being caught up in a number is not going to help you in the long term, sort of thing. Like, it can be detrimental sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably better go 401 than 399, but all right.
399.5. Just to fuck everyone off, to be honest. But we'll see. I remember I was speaking to Rondell as well, and he was like, if you outpull me in comp, I'm catching a flight to the UK. And I was like, December.
Well, we'll see you there then.
December, we'll see you in December.
What do you need then? You only need 398.
Was it 398 he hit?
Yeah, 397.5, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's 400's there, more than 400's there, in my opinion. But you just don't know what's going to happen on the day. Yeah. I just got to stay away from the pickle juice.
Yeah. Well, if you put up a big squat before it as well, true. That can have an impact, can't it?
Yeah, luckily I do my heaviest. It's not much cut, luckily, like literally minimal cut, and I usually do my heaviest squat on a Saturday. So, and my heaviest deadlift on a Monday, but I'll still squat and bench beforehand. So, like, the fatigue is high on my deadlift days anyway. Like, I know on my deadlift day, I'm knackered already before I've even started.
You feel like so what you're doing in the gym is a good representation.
Oh yeah. For me, it's worse. Like, I'd much rather deadlift on the day I've squatted because I feel prepared. Yeah. Whereas deadlifting a day or 2 days after doing a heavy squat for me is more
half
tiring.
Recovered and not really where you need to be.
Yeah. So that always works well for me. Mm-hmm. He says, "Touch wood." Famous last words.
Well, that's it. Proof's in the pudding, isn't it?
The thing is, I can't even miss right because I know for a fact how much shit I've given Mo and everyone else. That
if you miss one deadlift, right?
If I miss one, I'm
gonna get like a how you get those images where when you twist it shows 2 images. So one will be you pulling, the other one will be the thing going out of your hand.
No, but listen, touch wood again, touch wood. You just can't miss an opening deadlift, Mo.
Yeah, there we go. Blame the cramp.
You've given me so much ammunition, all of us. It's not even funny.
Oh my days. Oh, it'll be fun though. Hopefully everyone does amazing. I think the selection should definitely be a fun one to watch, and then obviously Euros would be amazing to also watch because we've got a lot of lifters going into that. So yeah. And then we got Sheffield. Hey, we got Daddy GB going in there, so that should be fun also.
Well, I'm expecting these guys to go and win the Europeans. The team numbers. I think we're right up there. I think.
Yeah, we're looking good.
Be. Yeah, we definitely should be. Yeah.
The females are looking strong. I'll be honest with you. Like all of them are looking really, really strong.
Annie pulled a 215 like it was nothing the other day.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And then I think on the same day, Taz put up 200 kg for 5s, and I was like, "What are you two doing? What the fuck is in Scotland? What's going on in Scotland? I'm moving."
Oh,
There's something in the water.
Deep fried
over there.
Mars bars are kicking in.
Yeah, Alex messaged, like, commented on Annie's post, and he was like, "Have you given your anti-grav machine?" I was like, "I'm just borrowing it to Annie for my deload. It's fine, but I need it back, please."
Oh,
No, it'll be fun. It'll be good, man.
Well, it's been amazing having you on, Tony. Hopefully, we're all looking forward to your training. We're definitely looking forward to see what you put up at the selection meets, because you're talking about 965, which will put you as the second best male GB lifter. You know, just knock me down the spot, so I don't mind that. But yeah, it should be very
GL
exciting.
points. I forget. Yeah, you're obsessed with these points. You know, once you get fat, you forget about points, mate. Like
it's a light man mentality, isn't it? It's such a lightweight lifter mentality. I understand why Durance does it, because there's no way of him comparing to other people. But Mo, you're 120 now.
Yeah,
let it go.
I didn't care about it until Durance started caring about it. So now I care about it.
Lies. Absolute fucking Tony, we were in the group chat, in one of our many group chats. He's giving everyone lip. Sign the contract. Who's gonna have the highest GL points? Sign the contract. This, that, the other. He's sending for fucking everyone about GL points, and now he's acting like he doesn't care. I'll snitch on you here, Mo. I'll be honest. You need to get a grip. You're a 120 now. You just need to come in and lift without screaming and shouting.
Don't worry, I'll be there hopefully with you boys one day.
You boys, yeah, you'll be wheeling the Wilks back out soon, mate. I'm telling you.
501 Wilks.
That used to be such a massive goal for people back then. 500
was my goal.
Yeah, that was insane, wasn't it? But yeah, thank you very much, Tony, and hopefully we catch you in the next one.
Right,
any last words, any sponsors you want to shout, anything, and like, anything you want to tell the competitors, the other guys who
as usual, big shout out to A7 for looking after me. Anything I want to say to the competitors at Sheffield is just come and do some PBs, enjoy it, and I'll be here waiting for you, home turf.
There's gonna be so much noise in that crowd. Just for those that are listening, we're gonna get Tony to shout out the winner of the competition on Monday when the podcast actually goes live. So keep an eye on that, and we'll be releasing more stuff for people to win.
All right, very good,
beautiful. Cheers, Tony. Thank you very much for listening.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.